How's everyone doing? Today I have an awesome Blu-ray collection update. I've told you before that I've gotten certain movies from certain sellers in the past, and they've given me great deals because I've dealt with them for a long time. And I feel like a lot of times they just want to move the stuff quickly. So I think this is just a shockingly amazing deal. So I've got 13 pickups right here, and I got all of these for 50 bucks. And what's wild about this is I sold the codes for the ones that had the digital copies for 60 bucks. So I ended up making a profit on it, on the codes alone. So I got these for free and they gave me 10 bucks, kind of the deal for that. So I thought that was amazing. I already have all these movies except for one. So essentially I got them just because it was such a great deal. And they already have like preset groups for like movies like this, so I wasn't going to, like barter or say, hey, take this one out, I already have it. So they said, hey, it's 50 bucks for this stack right here. And I'm like, okay, I will take that. That is a great deal, absolutely. So if anybody's interested in doing trades or would be interested in buying any of these, let me know. Because again, I have all of these ones except for one. So yeah, there's only one here that I'm not going to be getting rid of. Because I have all the rest. So let me know if you've seen any of these and what you think of them and which one of these is your favorite. And let me know, do you think this was a good deal? I think it was an amazing deal. It seems to be a rarity now to find good deals. Like before, I was finding deals all the time on like, flea markets, and which are, you can't really do flea markets too much anymore. Craigslist, and with everything going on in the world, it's hard to do the deals anyways. But even before that, I feel like the deals have kind of dried up. Like, like I said, Craigslist, there was OfferUp, 5 Mile, Let Go, but I think Let Go and OfferUp like merged now. And then there was like Facebook groups too. Like if you would look for your like local town or county, there'd be like for like garage sales online for that on Facebook. So I would find all kinds of deals, and then like within the past like year, it's really dried up. This one seller every now and then will have like a bunch of stuff for sale. So I've been getting from them. And this was an awesome deal to me. I'll go ahead and show you For Vendetta, which is an amazing film. I recently got this myself. I haven't had a chance to check it out on 4K yet, but I plan to soon. Natalie Portman is amazing. Let me know who your favorite, what your favorite Natalie Portman movie is. I remember her when she was a kid in Leon the Professional, which is an all-time classic and one of my favorites. Hugo Weaving was great too. Remember the 5th of November. Great kind of like a political concept going here, which people were saying, it's kind of relevant for today. But yeah, that, and this was, I was shocked because this one right here, like I said, this whole pile was 50 bucks. And this one alone goes for, I want to say like 45 right now for the Back to the Future trilogy, the 35th anniversary, and has that whole digipack design, which I'll go ahead and, I've shown this before already. So, but it has the discs in here where you can slide them out. And a lot of times I remember people were complaining about the disc getting scratched. That's for like old DVD sets. Blu-rays and 4Ks, they have a thicker coating on the back, so you don't really have to worry about them getting scratched up or anything like that. So that is good, because it is kind of like a tight squeeze in these little sleeves. But I like the design, and again, if it's not going to affect the discs, then it doesn't really matter. And then again, they all have the digital copies, so I sold the digital copies in here, and I mean, I was shocked. Like, it's such a great deal to me. And I think for the most part, they don't care. They just want to get rid of them quickly. And they have like a ton of stuff. So I didn't buy like everything that they had, but I just bought this pile, the stack that they already had like preset at the price they wanted. So I'm not going to haggle, take that one out, give me a couple dollars less. Nah, I'll take the whole pile. I'll take it off your hands. 4K edition of Westworld Season 3. The New World. I haven't seen Season 3 yet, but I think the show is amazing. You've got Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, which again, I think he's been such an underrated actor for so long. I remember seeing him in Ride with the Devil, which is like a favorite of mine, Ang Lee film. But yeah, I think he's a phenomenal actor. Evan Rachel Wood, Thandie Newton. So I like the cast a lot here. The visuals are amazing. I remember watching the old Westworld movie, and wow, the concept has come so far. I felt like the original Westworld movie kind of inspired like Terminator. It was very like kind of like Terminator-esque, Yul Brynner. But yeah, let me know if you've seen Westworld and what you think of it. And let me know what's your favorite TV show on currently. And then, Back to the Future, just a classic, one of the best trilogies out there. Just a lot of fun. And next was Fullmetal Jacket, which this is, to me, a classic war film. I know it's kind of like people are divided. They always say the first half of the film is better. I agree, but I think overall the film is amazing. I definitely love the first half a little bit more, but overall, a phenomenal film. And just a classic from Kubrick. Let me know what your favorite Stanley Kubrick movie is, and let me know what your favorite war movie is. There's Arlie Emery right there, the drill sergeant. Classic, all the different lines in here, so many quotable ones, and just the whole cast. Let me know if you have a favorite quote from this movie. So non-PC, but that was kind of the point. It was just raw and in your face, just the life of going through that, the training, and then the actual war. The whole cast in here was phenomenal. Vincent D'Onofrio just blew me away. It's funny because he was in this movie, and then he was in the movie Adventures in Babysitting, which he had a small role in that as like the owner of the garage, who was like the Thor character, and he played both of those like the same year. And I feel like drastic as far as he put on a lot of weight for this one. But yeah, I mean, different actors have done that. Christian Bale, when he did The Machinist, I heard he was eating like a can of tuna and an apple a day. That was his diet, and he lost so much weight. It was scary, so like emaciated. And then he did, Batman after that. Yeah, that transformation, he's just so dedicated. Christian Bale, there's a small group that I think are just phenomenal actors, like some of the best actors of our generation. Daniel Day-Lewis, I'll kind of put in there. He's been around for a while. Christian Bale's been doing, he's been acting since he was a kid. Gary Oldman too. Those are like three of my favorite actors, like modern actors. Next up is Bill and Ted Face the Music. I actually got this, but I haven't shown it. It's in the other room. And then just to show you, actually, I have piles all over the place. But just to show you that I have duplicates of these, and I'm not just like saying, hey, I got these, and I don't know, I have a bunch of stuff in the other room, but here's V for Vendetta and Back to the Future right there. So, but yeah, I've got a bunch of the other stuff in the other room, but I have all of these except for one, which I will show you momentarily when we get there. And here's actually another 4K of Full Metal Jacket right there too. Yeah, I have piles, like literally I have some over here, a ton in the other room. So very disorganized. I got to get everything fixed up. I got to do, I've got rid of so many movies, but I need to get rid of so many more. The space is at a premium. You see the two bookcases behind me, but I've got 9 total of the tall, wide IKEA Billy bookcases. They're like 6.5 feet tall, and they're like the wider ones. And they're all filled up. And then I also have 2 smaller Atlantic drawbridge ones. So 11 total bookcases, which are all filled up. And I've got just like stacks all over the floor. I'm terrible. And I've hit that point where like that impasse of like trying to, rationalize getting rid of certain things. Like I always say like, oh, I like this certain scene. I like this part of it. I like this director, this actor. If I can't see myself rewatching a movie, I got to get rid of it. But now I've got rid of thousands of movies, like probably around like 10,000 Blu-rays and DVDs within the past like 5 years, which is mind-blowing. But anyways, Bill and Ted's, I actually have this in the other room as well. Haven't shown my copy of it yet. I watched it. I thought it was terrible, like cringy to sit through. The worst iteration of Bill and Ted that I've seen. There's the comic books, there's the first 2 movies, Bogus Journey, Excellent Adventure, and the animated series. Wasn't there like a live musical or something too? But this was just rough to sit through. I actually thought the robot was funny, and I heard a lot of criticism for the robot. That was like the best part of the movie for me. I don't think I actually laughed once in the whole movie, but there was a couple parts with the robot. I was like, oh, that's funny, all right. And it's a little bit of humor in there. Maybe it just caught me off guard because the rest of it wasn't funny at all. But I heard a lot of praise for this movie. A lot of people were saying it was so fun, so funny, so great. You see these characters that you grew up with, but it's just not the same. I've never been a big fan of Keanu Reeves acting wise. I think he's been in a lot of good movies. Maybe he has screen presence, but I don't think he's a really good actor. And it's very kind of like stilted, kind of unnatural way that he delivers the dialogue. So I don't think either one of them were good actors. In the roles that they played, they're kind of Beavis and Butthead-esque. Back in the day when we were younger, it was more. But now as adults, they're 50-year-old adults with kids and stuff. and I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. I like Samara Weaving a lot, who is in here too. There's a few other recognizable people in here, but Samara Weaving was probably the best acting wise for this. But I felt like she can only do so much with what she had to work with. They have both have kids now, and Kid Cudi's in here. I mean, I don't know. I just could not sit through this one. It was a battle of attrition to sit through. I made it through. The best part of the movie for me, besides the robot and Samara Weaving, was the end. There's an after credit scene, which it's a little sad, but it just felt the most fitting of the whole film. But yeah, they have to save the world. If they're gonna create this song, the travel to the future. They keep traveling to all these different timelines, and there's them when they're buff and in jail, and there's all kinds of crazy different scenarios going on. They have to create this band, and the daughters help them, and there's strife with their wives, and it was just, I hated this movie. I thought I would never want to sit through this again. It was terrible. I don't understand the praise for it. I get it that there's characters that we grew up with, but it's just not the same. I just can't relate to them acting the same way they did when they were kids, when they're like 50 years old here. I can't buy into that. It was just, I did not care for this movie. I personally could not recommend it, but I feel like I'm in the minority because I've just heard so much overwhelming praise for this movie. People just saying they loved it. I'm kind of blown away by it. Let me know. Am I the only one who didn't care for this movie? Again, it's not just that I didn't care for it. I just thought it was a steaming pile. Like it was rough to sit through that movie. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Yeah. Oof. Again, it's one of those things where you've created something. The last movie, I think they said it was like they're talking about 25 years ago. If there's that much of a gap, it's hard to make a good follow-up, I feel like. And I feel like they're still trying to capitalize on certain movies. Like I heard they're going to make another, Ghostbusters. They're going to do another Goonies. They're going to do like all these different ones they're going to bring back. And it just doesn't have the same magic usually. Especially when you're trying to do the same old tired routine. It worked when they were kids, but not as adults. It's just, I digress. Anyways, on to the next one right here, Peninsula, which was the sequel to Train to Busan. I haven't seen this one yet. It's just, zombie overload, Korean zombie. Train to Busan was amazing. Just an adrenaline, frenetic, high-paced, action thrill ride, horror movie. And awesomeness. This looks like it's going to be kind of in the same vein. Again, kind of a follow-up to that. It's 4 years after Train to Busan. So I guess just the devastation of the outbreak and everything like that. And they're still trying to fight everybody off and all the zombies and stuff. The outbreak. Next up is Valley Girl, which this, I know this is another remake. I like the soundtrack a lot. And this is much better than I thought it was going to be. I heard like a lot of, criticism for it. Why do they have to remake all these? That's what Hollywood does, Just accept it, get over it. I don't like it a lot of times either, but sometimes give it a fair chance. This was better than I was expecting it to be. I like the cast a lot. I like her a lot. What is her name? Jessica Roth from Happy Death Day. There's a bunch of other recognizable people. I thought the actors did a good... There was one actor who I just could not stand. I don't know if it says his name on here. He's one of the guys on YouTube that makes videos. I think he might have done like a Disney thing too. There's the two blonde brothers. They're real like douchey. Is the best way to be honest with you and say that. I don't think it says their names on here, but Jake Paul and the other Paul guy, I don't know. They're both terrible. The one guy in here, the one of the Paul brothers, I can't remember I'm pretty sure one is Jake Paul. I might be messing it up. But yeah, the guy in here, I don't know how old I think he's like in his mid-20s, but he looks like he's like 45 years old. It's just, and he's trying to play like a high school student. It's like if it was me coming in here with the gray in my beard right now, coming in and, come on guys, I'm the captain of the football team, let's go, his acting was terrible, and just, I don't know, it just wasn't, you have to suspend disbelief so much. I know in certain, movies and TV shows, older people play high school students, but for him, you just can't buy into it. He looks so old. And the thing is, I don't think he is that old. He just doesn't fit for that role anymore. I think he might have done roles like that when he was younger, but now he can't get away with it. But yeah, I don't know. Logan Paul, I think is the one. Maybe I'm not 100% sure. Maybe mixing things up. Jake Paul, Logan Paul. But they're both on YouTube, and they're both terrible in my opinion. Really douchey. It's like stuff that, like, if I was like 16 making videos on YouTube, that's the kind of stuff I would be doing. But they're making tons of money. But yeah, I know the one guy went to like the forest in Japan where people, I don't know, I don't want to even say the words because YouTube will demonetize everything. But he took like video of people committing this, this act. Not Harry Carey, but on the same similar line of that. And he posted it, and then he like took it down. It was like, what is wrong with, like, somebody who does something like that is just unstable mentally. And like, I remember he, like, the feds were looking into him because he posted videos with like all these guns that were illegal in California and all kinds of crazy stuff. But then like there's all kinds of, I think one of them might have filmed like their wedding and like streamed it, like crazy. It's like the opportunist to like the nth degree right there. And then I know one of them had like a boxing match with like another YouTuber that was streamed, and apparently like it did really well. Blows my mind. There's, I guess, a big audience for it. But yeah, I think this guy, the actor in here, was in like a Disney show or something back in the day. I don't know. But yeah, so it's the whole 80s soundtrack, the whole 80s setting. There's certain people in here that I was actually kind of surprised that they didn't advertise were in here, and I'm looking on the back and I don't even see like their names. Like Judy Greer's on here. There's Mandy Moore's a choreographer on here. Interesting. But there's some people in here that I was like really kind of shocked that weren't mentioned for this. Even like, I'll have to say the singing and the acting were really well done, especially some of the singing. Jessica Roth, again, I'm a big fan of her, but I think she was like the worst out of the bunch for the singing. Alicia Silverstone is another one that was in here that was kind of surprised wasn't mentioned. She's, especially, you're going to mention, well, she's more 90s, but I feel like that would have gotten some more people to check the movie out too. She plays the mother character in here, kind of going like the flashbacks. So it's actually really her life that she's telling her daughter now about, growing up in the 80s and stuff like that, and, dating the person on the wrong side of the tracks kind of deal, and all the dealing with all the strife with her friends. And but this, yeah, the singing was awesome. Actually, I'm not big into musicals, but I really enjoyed this one. It was much better than I was expecting it to be, so give it a fair chance. It's a remake, yes, but I ended up enjoying it, and I think Jessica Roth is stunning, but also very talented as well. The singing, though, again, she was my least favorite of the singing. Sorry. But yeah, whoever, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, whoever it was, awful. Worst part of the movie for me. Cringy every scene that he was in. He's not a good actor. He does not look like a high school student. He looks way older than he is, and I say that with all the grays in my hair, and I'm being judgmental about it, but it just was jarring to see him trying to play that role. It was so, I don't know how, I'm pretty sure he's like in his mid-20s, but he looks so much older. And like anyways, I digress. That's the one thing I kept thinking about that movie, is like, every time. And he's in the movie a lot, but Jessica Roth, put her in more movies. Put her in all the movies. All right, next up is The Doorman with Ruby Rose and Jean Reno. It's not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. It's directed by Ryuhei Kitamura, who's done a bunch of great films. Midnight Meat Train is one of my favorites from him, but a pretty straightforward action movie. I'm not a big fan of Ruby Rose. I don't think she's a good actress, but I thought she did well in the fight scenes. Those are well choreographed, so those are really good. But they're holed up in a hotel, and she's a doorman, and she's trying to save people, and John Reno's the bad guy. It's it's your standard fare essentially for action. It's not terrible, but it's not something that I'd probably really give a high recommendation for it. But if you're a big action movie fan, you can check it out. Next up is Alone, which is very reminiscent of another. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's an Asian zombie movie that just came out recently too. I think it's on Netflix. Maybe it's Alive. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it's kind of very similar, where the guy thinks he's all alone. He's holed up in the apartment. And the other one, the guy is like, maybe he was like a streamer or something like that. But in here, this guy, he's filming himself for certain aspects, and that kind of like stops. Donald Sutherland, he's on the front cover, he's on the back. He's not in the movie very much, only until the very end. I mean, only at the very end. Then Tyler Posey, and then apparently he was in Teen Wolf. Like, I remember watching this, I was like, who is this guy? I don't like him. I don't like his acting. Was he another Disney star kind of? I feel like they're putting a lot of these Disney stars in, movies now, and I'm not a big fan. Their acting could have been good for, like a child Disney kind of movie, but as adults, a lot of times child actors, they don't turn out to be good adult actors. And I'm not a fan of this guy. I thought, he's the lead here, and I didn't like him at all. So that was a big thing. I wasn't a fan of the other actors here too. Summer Spiro. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this one at all. It's a very, a concept we've seen before. There was a, zombie apocalypse outbreak. And, he's just holed up in the apartment trying to stay alive. And then he sees somebody. He was about to commit, Harry Carey. Hold on. Maybe they might not flag that one. But yeah, so, and he's about to do that. And then he sees a girl across another apartment complex. And he's like, oh my gosh. And he's risking his life immediately to get to the other girl during this zombie apocalypse. It's like, man, I know you're hard up for it, but come on, pace yourself. You're risking your life immediately for this girl. She could be terrible. You don't know. She's okay looking, but I just thought that was immediately like, yeah. Well, I can't say I wouldn't do it in the same situation. Zombie outbreak. I'm, alone for all this time. All right, maybe I would. But yeah, it's so formulaic, and it just falls flat on a lot of the elements that they use. It's just, I don't know. They could have done so much more with it. I'm not a fan of the lead actor or the love interest. Donald Sutherland was underutilized. I wish he was in the movie more. Probably the best part of the movie, even though you can see that it was like so telegraphed. You know what kind of character he's going to be in that role immediately. But yeah, that one was disappointing to me. Next up is The Legend of Tomaru, which I have not seen. The visuals look awesome. I've seen the trailer and different scenes for it, and it's based on historical heroine Queen Tomaris of Mazagrate and her cadre of female warriors, the real-life 6th century BC Amazonians. So it looks like it's going to be amazing visually. Next up this is from Flickr Alley. This is the only one that I don't have, and I'm excited to check this one out. I think Flickr Alley is a really underrated company releasing films. They do a lot of like foreign, independent, older titles, and give these amazing restorations. This is an Italian neorealism meets coal mining country of the southeast Ohio, and it says little seen wonder of the 1960s American independent cinema. So yeah, they do like all the bonus material in here. To me, this is like akin to like Criterion Collection, but just, I would say, lesser known titles. But I've seen some good films from them, so I would definitely recommend checking them out as a company. And I'm excited to check this one out too, in this region free. The restorations that they do, a lot of times with certain, I want to say UCLA, like the different restoration studios that they have there, and a bunch of different companies like that. So they do a great job restoration, special feature wise, packaging wise too, amazing. So definitely looking forward to checking this one out. Looks like it's going to be an indie drama from the 60s. So I like the description for it too. Next up is The Dead Ones. This, I have my own copy. I saw it, and I feel like certain people, certain websites, they'll say these blurbs, outrageous, ridiculous, praiseworthy blurbs, just to get on the covers and posters and stuff like that, and the Blu-ray releases, because I've seen like the whole articles about people doing that. Because the first thing you see on here is Best Horror Film of the Year, says Film School Rejects. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen some real bad stinkers. Like the first 5 worst movies I've ever seen are probably like found footage Bigfoot movies. But I've seen a lot of like the found footage ones. I'm not a big fan of the genre. There's about like maybe like 10 or so that I think are worth checking out. The rest, there's just overloaded, oversaturated market. But I feel like so many, and like I've heard of Film School Rejects. I don't know if I've ever actually checked their site out or not. But that, I mean, granted, everybody has different tastes. It's all subjective. But to me, like, it's hard to wrap my head around you saying that. The best horror film of the year. That's mind-blowing, because this was rough to sit through. I should have turned it off like immediately. Because first off, it's so predictable. Like within the first scene when they get to the school, you know exactly what's going on. This isn't anything new or groundbreaking. And then when they try to like reveal this big twist, it's like, come on, if you didn't see that coming, you've never seen a movie before. I feel like there's one scene in here that was good. It was in the classroom. The rest of it is just rough to sit through. The acting is horrendous, even for low budget horror standards. The visuals weren't that great. I don't know. I just could not understand any praise for this one. And to say it's the best horror movie of the year, well, this year isn't a great example for movies just because of what's going on in the world. It's there's not a lot to deal with, but even with that into consideration, it's still one of the worst movies. But yeah, this would probably make the top 20 worst movies I've ever seen. Let me know the worst movie you've ever seen. I feel like sometimes people say that it's hyperbole. That's the worst movie I've ever seen. Then you haven't seen enough movies. Because I've seen some terrible ones. Like, I think of movies like, for like big Hollywood movies, Zoolander 2 and Joe Dirt 2. Probably the two worst, like, big budget Hollywood movies I've seen. But I like, if you want to talk about like Knock Knock 2, Skeleton Key 3, movies like that, people have never heard of for good reason. Don't ever watch them. They're terrible. Clownado, Jurassic Dead, movies like that. And then again, different found footage Bigfoot movies. And there's so many terrible movies out there that people have never heard of for good reason. Be thankful you didn't have to sit through them. This is another one that I would say, don't do it to yourself. I like this company a lot, Artsploitation Films. They've released some really good movies. This is not one of them. Cub is a really good movie from them. There's like a movie that reminds me of Idle Hands, Bloody Knuckles. That's a really good horror comedy movie that's released from Artsploitation Films. I would recommend the heck out of it. They have a lot of really good releases. They usually do a lot of like international and then like independent low budget movies, but this to me was just so bad. It's these group of kids and they're forced to essentially like clean up their school, and then you find out like there was a shooting and different things. They say it's a graphic shocker. No, it's not. It's really not. They have some scenes, like, again, if that's something you're really sensitive about, then don't watch it. But nothing, I don't know, nothing really stands out. The one classroom scene was good. Take that out of the movie and it was abysmal. But if that scene doesn't save it, doesn't push it up enough. But yeah, you could see the whole twist and concept coming right from the very beginning. Nothing new there at all. And it's just them going through, they get these haunting visions of what happened in the school, and how it plays out. How they tie into it right away. But yeah, I remember seeing this immediately on the top front cover, best horror film of the year. No, the worst horror film of the year. It blows my mind, and I'm still, I don't know. I feel like I get review copies, but that in no way affects my rating of the film. If I've been getting them for years now, and that doesn't mean I feel like some people don't seem to understand that if you get something for a review, you're not obligated to give it a positive review. There's journalistic integrity. That's a thing. If you give everything a positive review, you're gonna lose your credibility. And I have pretty much crapped on, like, for instance, I'll be doing a review of this one, and let me tell you, everything I just said is pretty much the same thing I'm going to say when I do my review. So, yeah, just because you get something for a review doesn't mean you have to give it a positive review. So, I don't know. When I hear praise like that, again, I know everything's subjective, but I was just blown away and just shocked because I just can't wrap my head around somebody liking this movie, let alone saying it's the best horror film of the year. It's easily the worst that I've seen. And one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Next up is Invincible Dragon with Anderson Silva, who just got his butt kicked, and it's time for him to retire in the UFC. He was phenomenal for a long time, but his time has passed. He's had injuries, it happens. But he's going to be one of the greatest ever. It's going to be a martial arts action movie right here with Max Zhang, who was in Ip Man and 3 in the Grandmaster. I still haven't checked out all of Ip Man movies, so I need to do that. I know they're doing a 4K box set for him, so I'll be checking that out. And yeah, it's just, action overload right here. And so I'm going to check this one out just because the people involved here, especially Anderson Silva. So I've seen like a bunch of UFC fighters in action movies now. That's a thing. So I don't know. I'm going to give this one a fair chance. I know what I'm going to go into expecting, probably not great acting, but hopefully some good action sequences and good fight scenes. Yeah, so this guy, he's a trigger-happy detective, and he's looking for a serial killer who's outsmarting him, and his fiance is taken, and his job, apparently, and then he goes to fighting, and gets a reunion with an old rival played by Anderson Silva, and maybe the key to unlocking the truth about his fiance's disappearance and apprehending the killer. I feel like just from that synopsis, it seems like it's going to be really formulaic and predictable. Anyways, I digress. These were the 13 pickups right here for $50. A little less than $4 a pop, like $3.80 or so, if my math is right. So again, and I sold the codes for $60, so I essentially got these for free and made a $10 profit just off of the code. So I thought that was an amazing deal. Let me know what you think of that. Again, I feel like it's rare to find good deals these days, so I was souped on this. Let me know what one of your best deals you've ever gotten has been. If you know, Craigslist, flea markets, Facebook sellers, groups, anything like that. eBay Mercai, I think that's a thing that I've heard people use. Checked it out once or twice, nothing really seemed worth it for me, so I deleted the app pretty much immediately on that one. There's OfferUp, Letgo, which I think merged now. 5 Mile, which I feel like that wasn't good, so I kind of just stopped using that pretty much right away. But let me know what deals you've got. Let me know if you've seen these movies, what you think of them. Let me know what is your favorite pickup from this bunch right here. So there you go. Hope you enjoy this video. Sorry for all the rambling and rants, mini rants right there. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care.